I'm Mark.
And I'm Josh.
And this is Alter Ego Comics TV, episode number 109. We apologize for not being with you last week, but due to a shipping snafu, we didn't get all of our new comics in time to do a video. So it actually took 3 days for us to get everything that we needed, and we're still missing stuff from last week. So go Diamond, yay. But we did manage to get nearly everything that we were supposed to get for this week, so we have a heck of a show for you. But before we get to that, we want to give you a quick update on our March Madness promotion and who lived on through the first round.
All right, we're into week 2 of March Madness at Alter Ego Comics, and some favorites came through as expected, and there were a few upsets. We've got the heavyweight in the room, Scott Snyder's Batman book, essentially demolished Batman Earth 1. We've got Adventure Time and Avatar ran much closer than analysts expected, but Adventure Time did pull it out in the end. Justice League also had its way with Werewolves of the Heartland. And Aquaman and Spider Island in a squeaker went right down to the line with a 1 vote difference, giving it to Spider Island. Out in the Western Conference, we have Saga demolishing Spider-Man. Mark Waid's Daredevil takes a huge chunk out of Scott Pilgrim, and Wonder Woman just completely ignoring Thief of Thieves. I don't think she even knew that they were there. And Manhattan Projects and Punisher. Manhattan Projects pulled out a much larger win. They beat the point spread by 4. So this week, all the books that made it through will be up another 5% off in the store, and you can make sure to make it in and vote so you can just help decide the #1 book of last year at Alter Ego Comics.
Whew. So that's 15% off for those of you not doing math. It was 10% off the first week, 15% off the 8 survivors this week. And don't forget to vote, as Josh said. We want to see who makes it to 4 next week and 20% off. Now we have something new, our medical moment. The Alter Ego Comics medical moment. Word to the wise, do not take a leave D before going to bed. You will not sleep. That's what happened to me last night, so if I get a little crazy, it's because I got about 3 hours sleep thanks to a leave D. However, my headache is gone. So that was your medical moment from Alter Ego Comics. Alright, so since we didn't get to do an episode last week, I do want to talk about Age of Ultron. Issue number 1 came out last week, issue number 2 comes out this week, and this is the 10-issue miniseries by Brian Michael Bendis, Brian Hitch, Carlos Pacheco, and Brandon Peterson, and it takes place now. A lot of people have been asking us, is this a what-if, is this an alternate reality? This is the Marvel Universe today, despite the fact that we have a bunch of Marvel Now books that are not referencing any of this that's going on. That's how big the Marvel Universe has gotten. It's out of control. So, the premise is Ultron, the android that gained artificial intelligence created by Avenger Hank Pym, has somehow finally defeated the Earth. He's got Ultron robots running rampant all over the place. The Avengers, the heroes, are defeated. They're living in hiding. Captain America is just in shambles. Everyone's looking at him to lead, and he's just destroyed. So that's the first issue. And then we get to see, this is actually in New York, the first issue. The second issue, a lot of it takes place on the West Coast, and Moon Knight and Black Widow have teamed up to try and survive the Age of Ultron out on the West Coast. So this is the core miniseries is 10 issues. It's going to tie into a handful of other Marvel books starting later this month, so we can look forward to that. But this is Brian Michael Bendis' swan song on Avengers. Once he does this, he's done with the Avengers unless they pop up in the other books that he writes, in the X-Men books. So he will now hold on to the X-Men for 10 years, and we'll see what happens. But Hitch's artwork is amazing. I've had a lot of people comment on that. The first issue has a very nifty gold foil cover. It's actually a wraparound cover, and we thought, who wants foil? This is not the 90s, but we've had many positive comments on the gold foil covers. So way to go, Marvel. Excellent choice. So Age of Ultron is out. It's the big Marvel event of the summer, and you should absolutely check it out.
It's not actually gold, is it?
It's gold.
Ultron is gold, but I think the foil, it's chromium or something. I don't think it's gold. It's shiny as heck,
It's
though.
latinum. I don't know.
I guess it has kind of a gold sheen. What? A shiny metal cover. Next up, speaking of things that started last week and going to this week, the death of Damian, spoiler alert, oh wait, you already know, because it was spoiled by the news before it even happened in comics, in Dark Knight, I'm sorry, in...
Batman Incorporated.
That's right, that
Number
crazy
8.
Grant Morrison book nobody reads. Batman Incorporated number 8 has put waves through the Bat universe. The first few books last week had the kind of fallout to see people's reaction, and this week we get a number of them, including Batman, Batgirl, and Batman and Robin. And both Batman and Robin were really, really good. Batman and Robin is a very great kind of emotional, poignant, essentially silent issue. It's like Hush from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. There's no word balloons in the entire issue, and it's all about Batman's reaction to the loss of his son and the loss of another Robin. And it's just, it's easy for a gimmick like that to seem kind of overwrought. And Tomasi, the writer on a book with no words, did an amazing job putting the issue together, and I really enjoyed it. Also great was Batman 18, which sees the return of that girl from Batman 13 that was apparently also in Batman 3 that I missed.
Harper Row, folks.
Harper Row.
Josh didn't sleep last night, apparently.
Apparently. I don't know who she is. But it's also, again, it had a very feel of A Lonely Place of Dying, if you remember that. The issue where Tim Drake shows up and's like, I figured out you're Batman and you need a Robin because you crazy. Basically, Harper Row fills in the Tim Drake role in this place, telling Bruce that he has clearly lost his and it's really cool. It's nice to see a different point of view and a different kind of character, somebody who's not as analytical to bring into the Bat universe, and it just really makes me excited for what they're going to do with her.
Yeah, I do have to give my 2 cents on these two because these are 2 big issues. Josh neglected to mention the artist on Batman and Robin, Patrick Gleason, who we would not have a book without the artist who managed to convey the emotion and the script that Peter Tomasi did. So Gleason did an amazing job, especially when you get to the last page. It's just it's like a punch to the gut. And Harper Row is such an awesome character, probably one of the best new characters in the DC universe, and I really want her to be Robin. I know it's too soon, and I know that Snyder is not going to make it that obvious, but I really want her to be Robin at some point, whether it's a year from now, 5 years from now, whatever. She deserves to be the next Robin. And next up, we have Wolverine #1, the 17th series of Wolverine #1 since the character was created back in the 70s. Probably not the 17th, but man, this is getting ridiculous. I do have to say, though, I approach this very pessimistically, despite the fact that Wolverine is one of my all-time favorite characters. The way that Jason Aaron writes him, which we'll get to in just a minute, is fantastic, and Paul Cornell, who's writing the new Wolverine series, does a very good job as well. He treats him as a very mature Wolverine, not the brash, hot-headed berserker. Even though he loses it a couple times in the issue, you never really see that beast come out where he's mumbling and grumbling and just slashing away. And then we've kind of grown past that, haven't we? That's the way he was in the past. So Cornell does a really great job writing this issue, making me interested in the character, even though he's in 27 other Marvel books a month. And the best part about this is Alan Davis doing the artwork. Now, Alan Davis did Excalibur with Chris Claremont back in the 1980s. He also did some Wolverine one-shots. He worked on Uncanny X-Men for a little while, a couple of times, actually. And it's great to see Alan Davis back on a Wolverine series. He really brings a unique take to the character. So, even though I was extremely skeptical about yet another Wolverine #1, it turned out I really liked it. And I'm looking forward to the next issue.
All right, my next pick this week is Archer and Armstrong #8. I will continue shouting at the wind about how awesome this book is. If you're a fan of stuff like Sandman or Journey into Mystery or Lucifer, this is one of the closer analogs on the current shelves. It seems it's on the surface a buddy comedy that tells a lot of off-color jokes, but there's also a lot of great literary content here. Because of the age of Armstrong, he's got decades, centuries, millennia of history in there, so they can cut back to points in time and have little asides, do different cultural things. I mean, in this issue, within a page and a half, they quote Jean-Paul Sartre, George Carlin, and, well, that's it. George Carlin and Jean-Paul Sartre within a page of each other. It's just a great kind of survey course in what's funny and what's relevant, and they do a great job of bringing poignancy to these characters. I can't say enough good things about Fred Van Lente's Archer and Armstrong.
Or about Fred Van Lente.
Nice guy.
In general. He's a nice guy.
Great teeth, Fred Van Lente.
Next up for me, we've got a Jason Aaron 1-2 punch. We've got, whatever this is, Wolverine and the X-Men, issue number 26. And this is another instance, Josh and I actually had this discussion yesterday when we were taking our books home to read. I said, I really wasn't impressed by the first part of this return of Wolverine's long-lost half-brother? Half-brother, right?
Yeah, half-brother.
Dog, which is a great name for anyone, I guess. if you have an abusive father. But Dog is back, and the first issue just didn't do it for me. But this issue is very, very good. They do a lot of explaining of where this character has been over the years, what his motivation is in wanting to put Wolverine down, and how he gets back into his life. And the way it's drawn by Ramon Perez, who did the awesome Tale of Sand, which none of you have read. We do have copies available. It's the unproduced Jim Henson screenplay. Ramon Perez did some amazing artwork, and the way he draws the flashback sequences is almost like a couple pages out of Tale of Sand. It's got a completely different look than the rest of the book, and I loved it. So, to recap, Wolverine and the X-Men 25, 26, awesome. And staying with Jason Aaron, we've got Thor God of Thunder #6, which, if I understand correctly, actually is the ending of the first story arc, but the next issue continues with a lot of the same characters. So it's not like this is a hard cut of, there was this story arc, now we're moving to something else. It involves Gore, the God Slayer, and this book made me almost sad. It made me feel bad for the evil God Slayer. You see why he's motivated the way he is, why he has become what he is, and the way that Aaron has done that is outstanding. We don't find out much about this character during the previous issues, but this one we get a whole lot of information, and as a husband, as a father, I felt for this guy. I don't really see myself going in the direction that he went, but I can absolutely see how he got there, so you can relate more to the character of Gore, and I'm trying not to rhyme. Because of this issue. You also get pencils by Butch Geis. Isad Ribic takes the issue off. It's not Isad Ribic, Jerome Pena. I don't know who's drawing anything anymore. It's Isad Ribic was drawing it before. He takes the issue off. Butch Geis takes over and does a bang-up job. Jason Aaron has rapidly become one of my favorite writers, regardless of whether it's his creator-owned stuff or his Marvel Universe stuff, but he's doing a bang-up job with his Marvel books.
So you wouldn't go that direction. So you're saying you wouldn't hunt down and kill gods? That's what you're saying you're probably not planning on doing?
No. I'll let you know.
You've ruled out that choice.
There will be a tweet or a Facebook post if I decide to go in that direction.
My last pick this week is Fantastic Four #5, with words by Matt Fraction and art by Mark Bagley. And a lot of times we lament the death of the one-off comic. So many comics today are written for the trade and are written so well in that manner. But in the classic days of picking up an issue, read the story, it's one and done. And this is a return to that. And several issues of the Fantastic Four have been that way. This is one of the reasons I've really enjoyed it and recommended it repeatedly. This issue sees the Fantastic Four traveling back in time to Rome on the Ides of March to see the death of Caesar. And it goes really well. Time travel stories are a little cliched, especially when you involve historical characters, but it bends a way I did not expect at all. And I especially like in the first couple pages you have Franklin and Valerie retelling early stories of Julius Caesar stuff to Johnny and Ben, who are not exactly scholars or historians. And it's very cool to have this kind of juxtaposition of these kids telling these bloody war stories to these hardened superheroes. And the superheroes are like rapt attention. And it was just, there's so much heart in the Fantastic Four book, and I really just enjoyed the hell out of it.
And finally, we do want to give a quick shout out and let you know that the first collection of Hawkeye is available by Matt Fraction and David Aja. Did we ever figure that out? That guy, David AJA, that guy, which we have raved about since it's come out. This is the first 5 issues of the Hawkeye series. Excuse me. This is unlike any other Marvel superhero book being published. It's much more like an independent book, a Vertigo book, a creator-owned book. We love it. We've got plenty of copies here in the store. You really need to check it out. If you're not checking out Hawkeye monthly, please, we implore you, support good comics and pick up the first volume of Hawkeye. That is it for this week. Again, we appreciate your patience and waiting. I'm sure you've all been waiting by your computers, waiting on YouTube to see this latest episode go up. So we'll get it up there right away. And leave us some comments and questions. And let us know what you think about March Madness. Did the books that you voted for make it through? Let us know your thoughts on comics in general. And we'll continue to do the same for you. As always, thanks for watching.